Have you ever looked at someone you love, someone you have built an entire life with, and realized you have no idea what they are thinking? You share the same bed, the same breakfast table, and the same last name. But their soul feels like a locked room, and you have slowly realized that you lost the key years ago. We are taught from a young age that communication is about talking. We believe that as long as we are speaking, we are connected. But the most profound conversations in a home don't happen with words. They don't happen in the arguments or the loud declarations of love. They happen in the heavy sigh. After the bedroom door finally closes, they happen in the way they pull their hand away. Just a second too soon, they happen in the silence that feels less like peace and more like a slow, cold, or growing distance. This is the language of loneliness. It is a dialect of the heart that no one wants to speak, but everyone understands. It is the invisible wall built, one unsaid word at a time. Tonight on the Unspoken Home, we are going deeper. We are learning to read the messages hidden in the shadows of your living room. We are decoding the cries for help that never make a single sound. Stay with me for a moment, because understanding what's left unsaid is the only way to save what is left of us. The journey back to each other does not start with a shout. It starts by listening to the silence. The first step in learning this language is realizing that the body cannot lie, even when the mouth remains closed. We often focus on what is being said, but research shows that over 90% of our emotional connection is nonverbal. It is in the posture, the eye contact, and the micro movements of the face. Think about the last time you asked your partner, "Is everything okay?" And they answered, "I'm fine." But their shoulders were hunched, their eyes were fixed on the floor, and their voice had a hollow, thin quality to it. In that moment, the words, "I'm fine," were a shield, but the body was screaming for comfort. This is what we call the anatomy of a sigh. A sigh is rarely just about being tired. In a home where connection is fading, a sigh is a condensed story of exhaustion. It is the sound of a hope on being let go. When we stop reading these signs, we stop being witnesses to each other's lives. We become like two ships passing in the fog. We see the lights of the other vessel, but we have no idea who is on board or if they are sinking. Why do we ignore these signs? Because looking closely requires us to feel. If I acknowledge the sadness in your eyes, I have to acknowledge the part I played in putting it there. If I hear the loneliness in your silence, I can no longer pretend that our marriage is perfect, so we choose the easier path. We choose to believe the words and ignore the soul. We focus on the efficient roommate tasks, the groceries, the bills, the children's schedules. We become masters of the surface, while the foundation is slowly washing away. But here is the danger. The body remembers every ignored bid for connection, every turned away glance, every heavy silence. It stores them like stones in a backpack, and eventually, the weight becomes too much to carry to save the home. We must stop being afraid of the truth. We must learn to look past the "I'm fine." We must learn to see the person behind the mask of the daily routine. Because the most beautiful thing you can say to someone isn't, "I love you." It is, "I see you. I see the weight you are carrying. And you don't have to carry it alone anymore. Why do we stop sharing? often, it is because we want to avoid conflict. We hold back a small hurt because we don't want to start an argument. We hide a moment of sadness because we don't want to be a burden, or because we assume they wouldn't understand anyway. But here is the truth that every unspoken home eventually faces. Every unspoken word is a brick. One brick doesn't seem heavy. You can carry one brick in your pocket and barely feel it. But over the years, those single bricks build a wall. A wall so high and so thick that you can no longer see the person you fell in love with. These bricks are the small resentments we tuck away. The time they forgot that important date. The way they dismissed your idea in front of friends. The loneliness you felt, even when they were sitting right next to you on the sofa. When we stop being vulnerable, we stop being intimate. True intimacy isn't just about physical closeness. It is about into me you see. It is allowing your partner to see your fears, your failures, and your deepest, most fragile hopes. Without this transparency, the home becomes a place of masks. You play the role of the perfect husband or the supportive wife. You manage the household like a corporation. Everything looks functional from the outside, but inside, you are starving for a connection that is real. We must learn that a healthy conflict is always better than a dishonest silence. Silence doesn't heal wounds. It only allows them to fester in the dark. When you stop talking, the bricks don't disappear. They just become permanent. If you are feeling the weight of that wall tonight, you know that it wasn't built in a day, and it won't be torn down in a day. But it starts by choosing to put the brick down. It starts by saying, I'm hurting, and I need you to listen. Most of us listen only to respond. We don't listen to understand. We wait for our turn to speak, to defend our actions, to offer a quick solution, or to prove that we are right. But in a home where the silence has started to grow, you need a different kind of hearing. You need to listen to the unsaid. When your partner says, I'm just tired, are they really just sleepy? Or is that a mask for a much deeper feeling? Perhaps it is a code for, I feel unappreciated, or I feel like I am doing everything alone. When they complain about a messy house or a forgotten chore, are they truly upset about the clutter? Or are they crying out for help because they feel overwhelmed and invisible in their own responsibilities? Listening to the unsaid means paying attention to the sighs, the lingering glances, and the heavy pauses in a conversation. It's about creating a safe harbor, a space where your partner feels they can say the wrong thing and still be loved. In this space, you don't listen with your ears, you listen with your heart. You stop being a judge and you start being a witness to their life. Think about how often we interrupt because we think we already know the ending of their sentence. We assume we know their heart because we have lived with them for 10, 20, or 30 years. But people change. Pain changes us. And the person sitting across from you tonight may have secrets they are afraid to tell, even to themselves. The greatest gift you can give someone you love is not a diamond or a grand vacation. It is the feeling that they are truly seen and truly heard. Because when a person feels heard, the walls of silence begin to crumble, stone by stone. It takes bravery to ask the second question. After they say, I'm fine, try asking, I see a lot on your mind. What is the heaviest thing you're carrying today? And then The most important part: be silent. Let the space between you fill with their truth. Even if that truth is hard to hear, even if it makes you uncomfortable, because the truth, no matter how painful, is the only foundation strong enough to rebuild a home. Intimacy is found in the moments where we stop trying to fix each other and simply start existing together. Listen for the heartbeat, not just the words. So, how do we actually begin to break down that wall? We often think that saving a relationship requires a grand gesture, a diamond ring, an expensive vacation to the tropics, or a massive, tearful confession in the middle of a rainstorm. But the truth is far less cinematic and far more profound. Real intimacy is not built in the grand moments. It is built in the micro moments. It is the 5-second hug before you leave for work in the morning, where you actually stop and feel the other person's heartbeat. Instead of just going through the motions, it is the unexpected text message in the middle of a busy afternoon that simply says, "I'm thinking of you, and I'm glad you're in my life." It is the way you put down your phone completely and turn your body toward them when they walk into the room. In psychology, these are called bids for connection. Every time your partner points at a bird outside or shares a small, seemingly unimportant thought about their day, they are throwing out a line. They are asking, "Do you see me? Am I important enough for your attention?" In those few seconds, you have a choice. You can turn toward them, or you can turn away. A happy home isn't built on one giant, unbreakable foundation. It is built on thousands of these tiny, daily decisions to turn toward each other. Think of these micro moments as emotional currency. Every time you turn toward your partner, you are making a deposit in the relationship's bank account. And when the hard times come, and they will come, you need that savings. Because if your account is empty, if you have spent months or years ignoring those bids, then the first storm that hits will blow the whole house down. We get so caught up in the big life, the career goals, the mortgage, the long-term planning. We forget that life is actually lived in the small life. The way you make their coffee exactly how they like it. The way you remember the name of that coworker who is stressing them out. The way you reach across the car seat just to rest your hand on theirs while you're stuck in traffic. These are the threads that weave a safety net. In the Unspoken Home, we believe in something we call the 5-minute rule. It sounds too simple to work, but simplicity is often where the deepest healing lies. The rule is this: 5 minutes of undivided attention every single morning, minus 5 minutes of undivided attention every single evening. No screens, no chores, no talk about bills or the kids' schedules, just 5 minutes of pure human connection. Look at them. Not at the version of them you're frustrated with, but at the human being who chose to walk through life with you. Ask them, "What was the best part of your day today?" Ask them, "What is something that has been on your mind lately that you haven't had a chance to say?" And then be silent. Let the space between you fill with their presence. These small bridges, built day after day, are what keep the ocean of silence from pulling you apart. You see, the wall of silence doesn't fall all at once. It wasn't built in a day, and it won't be dismantled in a day. But every time you choose a micro connection over a micro distraction, You are removing a brick. You are creating a new habit of seeing. If micro-connections are the seeds, then rituals are the fence that protects the garden. In the beginning of a relationship, rituals happen naturally. You have your song. You have that specific coffee shop where you spent hours talking. You have the ritual of saying goodnight, with a lingering kiss that meant something. But as the years pass and the unspoken home begins to take over, these rituals often turn into routines. And there is a massive difference between a routine and a ritual. A routine is functional. It is brushing your teeth. It is taking out the trash. It is the efficient way we manage a household. A ritual, however, is a routine with soul. It is an act that says, I am choosing you. Again. If your home has become a place of separate lives, you must be intentional about rebuilding these bridges. It starts with the rituals of transition. How do you greet each other when you come home from work? Do you shout a hello from the other room while you continue to stare at your laptop? Or do you stop what you are doing, walk to the door, and offer a genuine, physical connection? The first 60 seconds of your reunion set the tone for the entire evening. If those 60 seconds are cold, the night will be silent. If those 60 seconds are warm, the wall begins to soften. Then, there are the rituals of the table. In many homes, the dinner table has become a battlefield, or worse, a cinema. We eat in front of the television, or we scroll through social media. While we chew our food in silence, we are physically present, but digitally absent. Try reclaiming just one meal a week. No screens, no phones in the room, just the sound of forks against plates, and the sound of two hearts trying to find their way back to a conversation. It might feel awkward at first. The silence might feel heavy. But don't rush to fill it with noise. Let the silence be a space where curiosity can grow. Ask questions that have no right answer. If we could go anywhere tonight, where would your soul want to be? What is a dream you've had recently that you were afraid was too small to mention? These rituals are not about the activity itself. They are about the message they send. They tell your partner, you are worth my time. You are worth my undivided attention. And our connection is more important than the noise of the world. We often wait for the perfect time to start these rituals. We wait for a vacation or an anniversary, but the most powerful rituals are the ones that happen on a rainy Tuesday, in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the exhaustion, because that is when they matter most. Don't wait for the feeling of love to return before you act. Act with love, and the feeling will follow. Rebuild the fence, protect the garden, and watch how the unspoken things start to find their way into the light. The tragedy of the unspoken home is that we often wait for the other person to change first. We wait for them to apologize. We wait for them to notice our pain. We wait for a sign that they still care, while they are sitting right across from us, waiting for the exact same thing. This is what we call the standoff of silence. It is a cold war where no one wins, and the only casualty is the love you once shared. To break this cycle, we must understand that silence is not just a lack of noise, it is a lack of safety. When we stop talking, it is usually because we have learned that speaking up leads to being dismissed, being judged, or being ignored. So, how do we make the home safe again? It starts with a radical honesty, not about what they are doing wrong, but about how you are feeling. This is a shift from you language to I language. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try saying, "I've been feeling really lonely lately, and I miss our long talks." Instead of saying, "You're always on your phone," try saying, "I feel invisible when we sit together, and I really want to feel seen by you." This shift is the first step in dismantling the brick wall. It takes away the need for defense, and it opens a door for empathy. But let's look deeper. Why is it so hard to say these things? It is the fear of rejection. If I tell you I'm lonely, and you don't care, then the loneliness becomes unbearable. So we hide behind our pride. We hide behind our chores. And we hide behind the busyness of paying bills. And we become masters of the functional conversation. Did you pay the electric bill? What's for dinner? Who is picking up the kids tomorrow? These are the sounds of a house running, but they are not the sounds of a heart beating. If your home has become a corporation, it is time to remember that you are not just business partners, you are soulmates. Think back to the beginning, the hours you spent talking about nothing and everything. That person is still there. They are just buried under the weight of the unspoken. They are waiting for you to reach out, and you are waiting for them. Someone has to be the first to drop their guard. Someone has to be the first to say, "I'm scared that we're drifting apart." Is it uncomfortable?
I just don't know what I would do without you
Yes.
sometimes.
Is it
You'll never have to
terrifying?
find out.
Absolutely.
I'm right here.
But what is the alternative? To live the next 20 years as strangers under the same roof? To share a bed, but never share a dream? The truth, no matter how painful, is the only foundation strong enough to rebuild. I want to share a story with you, a story that serves as a haunting mirror for many of our homes. It is about a man named Thomas. After 52 years of marriage, his wife, Sarah, passed away. The house became a tomb of echoes. Every room was a reminder of what was no longer there. A few months after her funeral, Thomas began the painful task of clearing out the attic. It was a place filled with the accumulation of a lifetime. In a dark corner, tucked under a stack of old quilts, he found a small, wooden box. It was covered in a thick layer of dust. On the lid, in Sarah's delicate handwriting, were the words, "Things I wanted to tell you, but didn't." Thomas sat on the cold floor, his hands trembling. Inside the box were hundreds of tiny scraps of paper. Some were yellowed with age, some were relatively new, and he opened the first one. It was dated 40 years ago. It said, "Today, you looked so handsome in your blue shirt, but I was too shy to say it. I was afraid you would think I was being silly." He opened another from 15 years later. "I felt so lonely when you stayed late at work tonight. I wanted to call you and ask you to come home, but I didn't want to be a burden." And then he found one from just a year before she died. "Thank you for making me tea this morning. You didn't know, but I was feeling so overwhelmed with pain today. That small cup of tea made me feel so loved. I wish I had the courage to tell you how much you mean to me, while I still had the breath to say it." Thomas sat in that dusty attic, and he wept. He realized that for over half a century, they had lived a good life. They had paid their bills. They had raised their children. They had been polite and kind. but they had missed a soulful life. They had traded these beautiful, raw, and honest moments for a safe, quiet silence. He had never truly known the depths of her heart, and she had never known how much those tiny things meant to him. This story is a warning. Don't wait until the attic is the only place your words live. Don't wait until a dusty box is the only way your partner can finally hear your heart. The most expensive thing in the entire world is a regret that can no longer be spoken to the person who needs to hear it most. If you have something to say it now. Building a home with no unspoken walls is a journey of a lifetime. It is not about being perfect. It is not about having all the answers or never feeling hurt again. It is simply about being brave enough to be real. Tonight, when you go home, I challenge you to break the silence. Don't start with a problem. Don't start with a complaint or a list of things that need to be fixed in the house. Start with a thank you. Start with, I noticed how hard you've been working lately, and I truly appreciate you. Start with, I miss you, even when you're sitting right next to me. These words are the keys to the kingdom. They are the light that begins to scatter the shadows in the corners of your rooms. If this message touched your heart today, if it resonated with the quiet longing in your own soul, then it is a sign. When it is a sign that you are ready for a deeper connection. We created the Unspoken Home to be a sanctuary for people like you, a place where we can learn together, where we can heal together, and where we can build homes where love is never a secret. Please, subscribe to our channel and join our community. By clicking that button, you are making a commitment to your own heart and to the people who share your roof. Share this video with someone who might be sitting in silence right now. You never know. You might just be the bridge they've been praying for. Remember, your home is not just a building. It is a living thing. It breathes. It feels. And it reflects the words you choose to speak. The most beautiful words in your home are the ones you choose to say today. Don't leave them for tomorrow. Don't leave them for a wooden box in the attic. Let your partner hear your heart while the sun is still up. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for being willing to look at the unspoken things. Until next time, keep the conversation alive. Take a deep breath, put down the phone, and go find the person you love. The journey back to each other begins with a single word. Go say it.